How much money did you make in the first 5 years of the business?
Yeah. You don't want to. I know why. I know why you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
I fucking know why.
Yeah. And I think the last thing that we were talking about this morning with respect to, I guess, like value and wages is everything related to like, okay, if you're complaining about your overall wage, you have every resource available to you to go make more money. You can go, for example, to develop more skills.
Yeah.
Right. The actual like to develop the skills of, let's say, a phenomenal salesperson, or to be a great cold caller, or a great copywriter, or a great graphics artist, or whatever. So many of these skills that have higher paying jobs, you can literally learn on YouTube nowadays.
I know.
Right. So when people are like, oh, like these higher paid individuals, like it's not justified or whatever, like I should get paid my value. It's like, no, well, you're only doing the work of what that pay is justifying.
Yeah.
If you want to get paid a higher amount, then either like up level your skills so that you can then become more valuable, do more work so that you become more valuable, or a combination of the both. Right. Like, I think that's one thing that I find very almost even comical when people are saying this sort of thing. It's like, well, like, what are you actually doing? Now, like, you might be, for example, have the intelligence. This goes to our video yesterday even. Like, you might have the intelligence that you think, based on your intelligence, based on your schooling, that you should be compensated a certain amount. But like, listen, I graduated with an MBA, and I thought all of a sudden, and everyone in my program thought this exact same thing, that we were going to you should have heard the things people said in my MBA program when they were like, if I'm not making six figures right out of graduation, like then that's bullshit, blah, blah, blah. Like, and so then you actually like look at the expectations people have just from graduating. But what's funny is, now that I'm on this side of it, I'm like, okay, you have some theory. Like, have you actually fucking done anything? Do you have any application of that theory whatsoever? Right? Now, that's not to say that there's not high paying jobs coming out of MBA programs, but a lot of times that's having like summer internships, where you have an internship at one of the big four consulting firms where they've seen how you work for 4 months and they pay you fucking pennies on the dollar to see how you actually work. And then maybe, okay, you're graduating with a high salary straight out of graduation, but there's some sort of proof of concept there. Right. And I remember these like these unrealistic expectations, and I kind of like had a similar thing, but at the same time I'm like, well, I know that I need to actually like show what I can do, that there's no like proof of any sort of like business acumen whatsoever beyond just like a piece of paper that shows that I studied theory and we talked about business. Right. There's no actual like, here's what happened in a business as an outcome. And so like, I think that a lot of people might be like, oh, I have an undergraduate degree, like I should just automatically make by default 60 grand. It's like, well, are you doing the work in that business to justify making 60 grand? Right. Because a lot of times you're not. But with relatively few additional skills, you could be providing value to the business in the six figures.
Be proactive. Like, be very proactive. I love when people come up to us and are like, oh, hey, did you ever think about this? Hey, check this out. You know, and I think people need to do more of that if you expect to scale. And like, you need to be proactive. Because we don't have our pulse on, we don't have our finger on the pulse on everything. So if there's more people, if we have an army of people, you know, always, you know, ripping apart our websites, ripping apart our you know, I guess production, and you know, ripping apart everything that we do, our procedures, and then it that's providing a lot of value. You know, I remember you know, GM, I told you this before, they would have this program, I can't remember what it was called, a suggestion program or whatever, and somebody, you know, my dad would always get these because he has like a good engineering mind, but he would always provide efficiencies to the company, and they'd cut him a check based off of, you know, how much money they would end up saving, or, you know, whatever, right? So it was incentivized to, you know, scrutinize the operations, and I don't think enough people do that. You know, show your value. Show that you can do something besides just fucking, you know, coasting by. And
if you ever complain about how much a owner, operator, entrepreneur, CEO of a company is making, it's like, well, go fucking start that company. Just go do it.
There's nothing.
How much money did you make in the first 5 years of the business?
You don't want to. I know why. I know why you don't want to do it.
Exactly.
I fucking know why.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
I fucking know.
People are like, oh, like Elon Musk shouldn't be worth this amount of money. It's like, well, do you know what he fucking sacrificed in order to actually get to this point?
Anybody can go. Like, I love Dana White. Connor, clip this in if you can. I love when Dana White comes on, and I don't give a fuck whether or not you agree with how much fighters are getting paid. That's not the argument. But you know that big whole fighter pay thing, that fighters want to be paid more. Okay. So fighters in the UFC feel like they're not being paid according to the value that they're bringing the UFC. Lo and behold, they're still fighters there, right? But Dana White in an interview was like, if you don't like it, you go fucking start your own UFC. And then you could pay the fighters whatever the fuck you want.
Mm-hmm. We know what the hell we're doing over here. And at the end of the day, my philosophy is always this. It's nobody's fucking business what these fighters are making. Listen, if you don't like how we run our business, go start your own.
That was his argument. I don't know how you can't argue with that. Go fucking do it yourself then. Mm-hmm. Like, what is the problem? He's like, I don't fucking care what you think. If you don't like it, you go do it.
Mm-hmm.